So, back to the start of the next race. This time it is a heat of the Temple Challenge Cup, the University's race for eights. And we've seen a fantastic race in that event already. We've seen the first race in the afternoon, Neerhouse triumph over the Cornell lightweights. This is the French crew from Lyon. They're closest to you. The camera's just flying over them. And they face the surprise package. I think everyone from America, maybe apart from the Columbia crew, is really surprised and delighted, in fact, that the lightweights from Columbia are here. Columbia University in the white boat. And the umpire is just giving them the final instructions. And there you see a shot of the French crew, and closest to you, the rower closest to you, is Antoine Noguerard, and had a delightful half an hour with him on the ergometer yesterday evening when he was winding down from his heat. We'll talk more about him as the race progresses, but the French crew have powered off, and I really think the Columbia lightweights on the left of your screen will probably find the French pace too much.
You've also got to take into account, of course, I know we've said this a few times this afternoon, but it is very windy. There is a strong headwind coming down the course. I think you can just see something in the water there that the Lyon crew is about to row over. Or if the umpires spot something like that, they stop the race until they can get out of the way, but they've safely navigated it, so we're well into the race now. But of course, in this strong headwind, weight really does matter. They're a heavier crew, not by much, but they're still heavier, and they'll be looking to make that weight advantage count as they lean into the headwind.
Well, Annie, I have to say that's a great start from the Columbia lightweights. They rowed down there in New York City on the river between, well, Harlem and the Bronx, I guess. And it's a nasty, dirty piece of water, all sorts of things that you find in the river, very rough. And I guess it's ideal preparation. And I tell you what, this will be an amazing turnout if the Columbia lightweights do beat the French. I'll be wrong, I'll have to eat my words. And the French, I made favourites for this event, but at the moment, Columbia edging, walking away.
They are, they're looking pretty dominant, which is an incredible result for them. Of course, this is the only French entry at Henley Royal Regatta, flying the flag for France, so they're good to have made it this far. But of course, Columbia this year beaten twice by Cornell in the two major US college championships for lightweights, the IRAs and the Eastern Sprints. Cornell, of course, going out earlier this year, so if Columbia make the final, that'll be a big turnaround from what the domestic results would have suggested. Well,
I was talking to one of the Americans. He said, well, I said, tell me about this Columbia crew. He said, well, we're not quite sure what they're doing this far in the competition, which isn't to be disrespectful. I think it is a genuine surprise. And that's a fantastic lead that they have eked out in the first part of this race. Columbia, the crew from the United States of America, from New York City, they're on the right of your screen, and the French from Lyon. On the left, we're zooming in on the lightweights from Columbia. Just to give you an idea, they're around about 11 stone, these men. They're rowing into a headwind, and they have eked out a lead over the French crew. The French crew aren't a big crew by any means, but they certainly have a bigger weight average, about a stone a man more than the Columbia lightweights. And at the moment, it does look like Columbia are in a race-winning position, and that will be a fantastic tribute to Nick Lee Parker, their coach, and the program in Columbia. It's not the most attractive place to row in America, but wherever you find water through the world, you are going to find someone who wants to row on it. And Columbia do want to row on it. These lightweights have had a fantastic season back in the States, and they are out to prove that Henley Regatta is made for them in 2015. So Columbia in white on the right of your shot, in the lead against the French from Lyon.
I think really the fact that Columbia are one of the surprises of the Temple Challenge Cup just reminds us of what a delight Henley is. There's no clever racing, there's no heats, semi-finals, there are other regattas. It's one-on-one match racing. You win every race, you'll make the final. It doesn't matter what the form book is, you slug it out one-on-one. And if you can get a crucial lead on the other crew, you can go all the way, and that's really what Columbia are showing us today.
So we're looking at the Columbia crew, and the camera will pan out to look at the Frenchmen from Lyon. They really wanted to go to the Université games in Chengdu, but the French Federation said, we don't have enough money, we want to send all our boats to the World Championships, which are in France in Aigues-Valette this year. So the French are a bit fed up about that, so Henley for them is a bit of a consolation. And there's the camera panning down the French crew, and shortly we get to a shot of their delightful stroke man, Anton Nourgard. And he trains there in Lyon. There he is, the rower just facing the cocks. He trains there with Jérôme Azou, of course the amazing lightweight sculler, who is setting the world on fire with his performances in the lightweight men's double scull with Stanley Danière, and he says he's just in awe of Azou's performances. And this Lyon crew is coached by Daniel Fauché, who of course was a world champion French rower back in 1993 and took the silver medal away from Greg Searle in the 96 Olympics in Atlanta. And I don't think the French are done yet with that grit and determination. Fauché is not here. He's had to watch because he's coaching the French under-23 crew for the World Championships, but these lads are doing a fine job hanging on to the speed of the Columbia lightweights.
Yeah, this race certainly isn't over, and you can see just how the oars are running next to each other there. You can actually see the French just inching back, perhaps making their weight advantage show over the longer race. The Colombians perhaps paying for their early start. And in fact, this is turning out to be a real humdinger.
Well, Columbia down at 34, and there's their cocks, and he's looking across at them, and that is a little bit of a despairing look from their cocks UQ. And the French are edging closer, and led by their stroke man, Antoine Nourgard. We've talked about him throughout the race, and I think probably the headwind has really been a crucial factor in what's happening now, what's playing out before us.
And I think the second you feel that you can smell blood, the second you feel the other crew starting to fade, that gives you such a lift. A bit of erratic steering there from their cocks, but they're back in a straight line for the finish line, and you just get the feeling now the French got their tails up, and they can feel themselves moving on the other crew. Have to see what Columbia can do to this.
So Mike Williams, the umpire, in his resplendent light blue Cambridge blazer behind in the launch, and you can see the French there, the arms of their supporters. Allez, allez France! A fantastic sprint through the finish. We thought they were dead and buried, but look what it's done to them, Annie. They are really got the bit between their teeth.
Yes, and actually just to compare that to the Columbia crew on the right, you can almost see their heads down now. They're looking absolutely exhausted as the French are just going. And what a fantastic race. What a brilliant victory.
So as we come up to the finish in the second semi-final of the Temple Challenge Cup for University 8, it's the Université de Lyon from France who have rode through, broken the hearts of Colombia's lightweights. They crossed the line first. Victoire à la France. What a brave performance from Columbia lightweights. They had that race in the palm of their hand, and then the headwind, Annie, and the Stoner man made the difference.
And you can just see what that means to the French crew. They know what a gutsy race that was. That is how to race a race at Henley when you're down. Keep going, keep believing, cling on, and believe you could do it over the full course, and that's what they did. And the second Columbia started to wobble, the French were there, straight in, and then went for the kill at the end. That was textbook.